Okay. Sorry, I was running late. I overslept by a lot. By like a lot. It was a rough night. We were watching severe weather coming in. We're okay. It barely even rained. It rained for us. That was it. The storm, like, decided to veer north at the very last minute. Other parts around us got hit pretty good, but our friend had a tree fall in his yard, and like we got deeply concerned because the storm's coming out of Tulsa. We're warned for 100-mile-an-hour, and we're like, oh fuck, that's like hurricane territory. We weren't too sure what was going to happen, so we were quickly trying to secure some stuff last minute outside when we saw that, and had to get the husband to try to secure a Mongo and my like 5-foot metal flamingo, because he's light and I didn't want him to go flying and like smash into the car windows or something. So I was like, shit. Alright, so we're here. Sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry. And when I went to lay down, like the husband had gone to bed early, and then he got up, and then he's like, hey, I'm like, oh, you can't sleep? He goes, no, it's not a good time right now. And I'm like, okay. And then like the storms were just about on our doorstep, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna go try to lay down. I'm like, you're gonna leave me now? You're gonna go in the other room now that the storms are just about here? He goes, no, I'm gonna lay down here. I was like, alright. He's originally talking about laying on my side of the bed, and I'm like, no, don't do that, because then when I want to come to bed, if you're asleep, I'm not gonna want to wake you up, and you're gonna have my pillow. My neck gets weird about what pillows I lay on, and we don't have 2 of the same pillow. We need to get a second one. I mean, the pillow that I'm using is not perfect, but at least I'm not in fucking migraine city the second my head touches it, which I have had happen with certain pillows. But it looks like we got lucky. If we hadn't secured Mongo, if we hadn't secured anything, if I had put the recycling outside like I had wanted to do yesterday, I held off because I was like, oh, we're talking about severe storms. I don't want the shit blown everywhere. If I had just been like, fuck it, and put it out, then we would have gotten nailed and shit would have been everywhere. I mean, we did get some high wind. We did get the gust front come through. It just didn't last very long, and it wasn't as high as they were predicting, but like looking across the street, Russell's like, oh my god, he's like, you should see. Leaf bundles or bunches are falling off the trees, and they're just blowing around in circles over there, and I'm like, oh damn. I'm like, well, that's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. So again, sorry I'm late. I apologize. I didn't set my alarm. That's why I'm so late. I thought about it for a second. I was like, oh, I should set my alarm. And then I'm like, no, I'm good. And then, you know, I woke up at 9 because I was stuffy. I had to blow my nose so I could breathe again. And then, started to fall back asleep. I think the husband got up around 9:30, 10, and I was like, I really should set that alarm, and then I didn't. And here we are. Like, when he got up, I like completely I didn't completely drop off because I heard him moving around a little bit. I wake up more suddenly when I think he should be there, and he's not. And then I'm like, what's going on? Where is everybody? I'm expecting movement that's not there. That weirds me out more than like little noises and movement around me. And my ass was just tired. I was just tired. And man, is my arm sore today. I don't know why. I think it's from twisting tissue paper last night. Like, that's the only thing I did that was even remotely strenuous, was twisting tissue paper last night. Like, what? Okay, it looks a little more purple now. It's a little bit more purple than this. Not by much, but a little bit. So that's good. Camera's latched onto the fact that it was gray last week and it was pissing me off. I'm like, it's not fucking gray. So I'm kind of doing this a little bit backwards today, but I wanted to make sure we didn't have any weird seam issues. Happening here. So we'll get this all tagged in along the upper edge here, if we can. Sorry, I had a random, well, maybe not random, perhaps rogue bit of purple threading there, someplace I didn't necessarily want it to be. Okay, so this shade that we're working with right now, this is dark aubergine. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a hard word for me to pronounce. It's basically like a deeper dark royal purple. Maybe a little bit darker than an eggplant. I would really call it eggplant, to be perfectly honest. But that's me, and this is from Paintbox. And I was twisting tissue paper last night because I was working on an off-stream project. I would have streamed him, but I would have even recorded him, but he's kind of a pain in the ass to record because he's big. He doesn't really fit my workspace very well. So he's just kind of an on-the-side project that I'm kind of dicking about with, and last night I was like, you know what? I'm gonna work on this guy. And then when I started to work on this guy, I was like, you know what? I don't have any kind of prep done to work on this guy. So I was working on him a little bit during the husband stream. He did end up streaming. We didn't end up doing Diablo. He decided to give it a shot and try to work through his zoo. And he was happy with what he did last night, so that's good. He's still probably going to end up getting his animals done before me, which is hilarious. we'll see. We're gonna start animal number, well, in theory we'll be starting animal number 8. I've got to do some facades on some buildings next week that I keep putting off, and then we'll start to map out our cheetah area. Now, the husband might be showing up on my channel a bit more because he doesn't stream that often, so he's not sure if it's worth it to really try to curate his channel. And I don't really care if he's on mine, as long as he doesn't have a dick moment. So he might show up from time to time. Doing what? I don't know. It could be streaming him working on some digital art stuff. It could be him playing RimWorld. It could be 7 Days to Die solo. Like, I don't know. But just a heads up, he might show up from time to time. Hi, Momo. Get your drink. Alright. Sorry, I'm like pulling it closer to me so I can see what's happening here. It's kind of difficult. Excuse me, allergies, really bad allergies. Like I said before, I am out of allergy medication. And I don't know when I'm going to be able to get more. Probably not till next month, because there's still a couple of things we desperately need to get that we forgot to get, because that's the way it goes. So those at the moment have a higher I need to get you priority. That line was a little thin. Thinner than I wanted it to be. So we'll just go ahead and tuck this guy in. And then he'll be looking good. Yeah, so I think I made my arm even more angry just by twisting tissue paper last night. I didn't get all of the shade done that I needed, but we got a fair bit. I was starting to work on the thing, and I was like, oh shit, I don't have any of this shade twisted, and I thought I did. I thought I had it all pre-twisted, and then I was like, oh, I don't. But I was happy with how it was turning out last night. I was like, yes, this was a good call. Because Russell kept saying I was going to paint this flamingo, and I'm like, no, I'm doing tissue paper art on it. I told you that. I have no pink twisted, or very little pink twisted, so that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna need a good amount of that. Like, part of it's painted, so I think that's why he thought I was painting the whole thing. I was like, no, I was just kind of doing an undercoat in case I had any gaps. And where the tissue paper lined up to hide any white from, or wood shining through. And I didn't end up painting the legs. I was like, fuck it, we're fine. I should have painted the legs, because then I had to go back as it was drying and try to cram in some more tissue paper in a couple spots where I had gaps. I didn't have too many. Hi, Momo. What's up? Do you have to go potty? You have to pee-pee? Okay. Momo has to pee-pee. And the husband's doing dishes. So I need to get him. Is this okay? So we will change this to puppy potty break, and I will be right back super quick. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Okay, we're back. Oh, like I should have known. So, sorry that my fingertips are stained pink, if you've noticed. It's not too noticeable. It's only there faintly, but it is noticeable. Like when I look at my hands, I see it. We re-dyed my hair pink. Last week, I think. And, I think it was last week. And it takes a little bit, like it takes a couple of weeks for it to stop depositing the pink on my fingers when I comb my hair, so, you know, there's that. It says it's semi-permanent, but my hair loves, well, parts of my hair love the red in the pink, and it just holds on to it and like never ever ever wants to let go. It is such a pain to dye though, because we have to bleach my hair. Okay, so that spot. Oh, yeah, there we go. Just dropping everything. That spot in particular could use just a little bit more floof. Not much. Just a little bit. Because I'm being picky about it. But you know what? I'm allowed to be picky about it. Alright. So when we get done this guy, which is gonna be a couple of weeks, we're like nowhere near. Nowhere near. We just got started. When we do finish this guy, we will have to do another planning session stream. Because we only got through two tutorial plannings, so we don't have any more pre-planned out with how we're gonna handle them. Alright, so there we go. There's that. Now it looks back to being gray again. Just the way the lighting is today. Sorry, husband was doing stuff at my desk and wires got shifted and shadows that I didn't realize were there. Oh, so there's that color. Oh, I forgot that was gonna show. Okay, so what color are we on now? We're on this color. So this is Pansy Purple. Oh, we should probably advance the tutorial here. Okay, so then he does the second mountain range under the first one. Not really a range. I guess it could be a range. That we have going here. And see, that one is a bit darker than the one above it, so that's why we're coming in with this color. He's gonna leave the same hard edge though. the same dark hard edge. So we're gonna have to do the same thing that we just did with this one. Okay, he's talking about the separation of the two and what's making the other one look like it's further away. And okay, and then he starts to mix his ground stuff. So we don't necessarily need to go past the point that we're at the moment. Oh my god, I can't type with these things on my fingers. It's like trying to guess where the keys are located. Jesus Christ. Okay. Alright. I had a message on Twitter I had to answer. Somebody was asking if we were good from the storms last night. I'm like, oh yeah, we're good. Just as they were coming in, husband's like, yeah, I'm gonna lay down. He's like, can you watch that on your Kindle? I can lay down. I was like, ugh. I was like, but then I can't do anything to help distract me while I'm watching it on my Kindle. So they actually had us in a severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds and hail last night before the storms even came in, and we never got a weather warning call that we signed up for. And I'm like, what? It never went off. And I thought the thing was automated, where if your address was in it, it was supposed to notify you. So in theory, we should have gotten the phone call. And we never did. That's a bit concerning. If we had not been paying attention and just been like, yeah, fuck it, and going about our business, we would have never known. I think he turned location services off on his phone to help save battery. And with us being at home, he's like, I don't need the location services, I'm fine. Or if he did have the emergency services turned on that phone, it never went off either. So I don't quite understand why we never got the phone call for that. Because our address was clearly in it. Clearly. And our phone was charged. Our phone was working last night. Oh, and happy Father's Day to the dads out there. Almost forgot that that's what today was, but yeah, so many people got such terrible, terrible damage I was really worried about the one tree that's next to our house. It's kind of sitting in the middle of the property line, or just on the neighbor's property line. I think it's more on her side, but a lot of the branches hang over onto our side. And we've had a limb off that tree fall off before and put a hole in our roof that we didn't know about, because we couldn't see that part of the roof very well. So with the way that thing likes to drop limbs in a windstorm, I was really kind of nervous about that guy, and I was like, oh shit. And that's back by the mother-in-law's bedroom, and I really didn't want him to sleep in there with the high winds coming up. I was like, please don't go sleep in there. I'm really nervous about that tree. We had some limbs cut off. What we really need to do is go halves with the neighbor and have the whole thing taken down, but neither one of us have the funds for that. Like, she really doesn't have the funds for that. Alright. So we are working on getting this guy popped in here and put together. And we're gonna try to stick to our pen line. We can go a little bit over it if need be. I just don't want to go like crazy over it, you know? But we'll do what I can. Or I'll do what I can. To get this guy popped into here. So how'd everybody's weekend go? Hope everybody had a good one. Hope it wasn't too painful. Not sure if I'm gonna continue my solo Diablo series on the YouTube channel. I've only had like a couple of views on it. So, I don't know. I'm toying around with that. I might not. We'll have to see. I hate putting energy into something that's not gonna get any views. But then again, if I'm doing it and I enjoy it, then what difference does it make? Kind of deal. I did have to have the husband pop in and help me on that solo character, though. I was trying to take a stronghold and just was getting my ass just ripped to pieces on the final part of it. Held my own up until that point. I mean, my gear wasn't the greatest going into it, so I'm not fully surprised, but alright. My hand's still a bit fucked up. It's trying to slowly fix itself. We might do another painting session soon here. maybe late night tomorrow night. We'll have to see what the husband's up to. We can't, if we do anything on Wednesday, it's not going to be till late. Because he's got something that he's doing. I mean, I could also just record it, but we'll have to see how things go as I'm slowly drifting closer to me and out of camera view. Sorry about that. I saw this tray that you can put your needle felting mat in. I was like, oh, I could put little non-stick feeties on the bottom so I'm not like sliding all over. But I don't know if this size mat will fit in it, because it wasn't all that expensive. Like, it was cheaper than I was expecting it to be, so I was looking at the dimensions on it and I'm like, that doesn't really look like the size that they're saying it is, and there was nothing in the photo to size comparison it to. I mean, I really should just pull out a ruler. But that was like the outer dimensions of the tray and not the inner dimensions, I think. So that also makes a difference. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think you're the right thing. So I'll probably just have to make my own. And I can make my own. It's not that big of a deal. I really just need to get something that has a lip on it that I can sit the mat inside of. And it'll probably end up being like an unfinished wood tray or something. To be perfectly honest, I could even like get some stretcher bars and just make something just to sit around it. That might be the cheaper way to go, actually. Just to do a little frame and then put some little non-stick dots on the bottom. Not non-stick, non-skid. I can get some puffy paint and like do dots on the bottom of it that's gonna sit on the table to keep it from sliding as we're working. So at least if the mat slides, it'll slide in the frame, but the frame shouldn't move around too much on me. That might be the less expensive way to go. Well, it really depends on how much stretcher bars are, because the wooden trays are about $10 a piece. I mean, I could probably even just make something with like a couple of dowel rods. Like taped together. But at the same point, stretcher bars might be cheaper than dowel rods, so kind of depends. Alright. So this is laying in pretty good here. Now it looks gray again. I can't win with this shade and my lighting, I swear. Promise it's purple. Alright, let's see. I gotta watch my time because I got up late. So I don't have as much time to work on this today as I would have liked to. I'm still fucking exhausted. I really wanted to turn over and go the fuck back to sleep. I almost did when I asked the husband what time it was. He's like, it's 10:02, and I was like, shit. And then I noticed the one cat was on the bed, and I was like, oh, hi. And then I was starting to pet her, and then I almost fell back asleep. I was like, oh, I've got to get up. I've just been in like sleepy fog all day today. It is crazy because I didn't really think I was quite that tired. Alright, so we're not gonna be too obsessive on the edge. I would like to keep it straight, but again, since we found a new way to display these, it's kind of working. I think it's working. That, we don't really need to worry if it's a little off. There we go again, lining this up on the edge of the mat when I don't need to. Okay. So ours, we haven't put the water in yet. That's fine. I didn't want to put it in yet and have like all this weird extra loose, bunchy felt base in between us and it. Because that's what would have ended up happening if we did this in here. So everything would be like kind of weird from just the way the base was gonna pull and seat itself. I know I'm a little bit crooked at the moment. There we go. Actually, all of me is a little bit crooked at the moment. My neck included. My neck was angry when I woke up, and I don't know why. I didn't remember doing anything that should have pissed it off. But wow, was it humid out when I went to take the dog out to pee. We saw Num Nums visiting us, having a snack. I didn't see too much damage out there, so that was good. Our lights blinked a couple of times, and we're like, uh-oh, we're gonna lose the power. That's when we really decided to shut down, because we were afraid of, well, the husband was afraid of, like, fucking up his PC. And I was like, what should I do? And, because I was in the middle of working on a couple of things, and he's like, just switch it to your Kindle. And I'm like, yeah, but then I can't do the other things. Because I probably would have been up for, like, another hour twisting tissue paper. Easily. But that's okay. I probably have enough twisted. I just wanted to be sure. And I was kind of like, well, I'm gonna have to twist it anyway. Oh, my Dinkum friends, they did an anniversary update. A small one. And there's some kind of event going on, but it's a time limited event. So You have to turn in fish for prize tickets. There's 2 things I want on the prize list. I hopped in there just to see if it was anything worth getting for me that I was interested in, and there was one thing that I saw that I definitely kind of wanted, and I was like, ooh, yeah, totally. I totally want this. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but I totally want it. And I think I want 2 of them. So I was trying to do that real quick last night, and then the husband kept messaging me, and I'm like, I can't play this game with you messaging me, because I have to keep hitting pause, and then I have to tab out, and then I have to message him back, and then I have to come back in and unpause, and I was just getting frustrated. Excuse me. Because it's not an easy game to just switch screens on. And if you're trying to do something with a limited amount of daylight, you have to remember to hit pause, and like just tabbing out doesn't pause time, so between that and trying to watch the weather, I was getting mad at myself, so I'm just like, okay, just pack it in. You got enough tickets for one of the things. I haven't turned them in yet, which I definitely need to. Because I don't know how long the anniversary thingy is running. So I'll probably have to do that tonight. Okay. There's a bit of fluff and stuff. Okay. Sure, we're gonna go along the bottom, or we're gonna come along the top? I think we'll come along the top. Or well, that's where we're gonna try to get this guy worked into here. So let's see what we can get done here today. We have about maybe 45 minutes left. Let's see how much of this we can get done. Okay. We're just crunching along as best as we can. Sorry if you hear any clanks or bangs in the background. Husband's doing dishes in the other room. because we never got to it yesterday. And hey, if I don't have to do it, by all means, let him do it. And that's fine. Sorry, I had a lighter section in there and I just kind of wanted to fill it in, and then everything kind of like collapsed backwards on itself. And I was like, oh, okay. So this section just kind of all lives here right now. That's alright, I suppose. I'm kind of fascinated with the people like custom making the small rugs. That looks like so much fun. But I don't think, and like I really kind of want to try it. I don't know how much it is though to buy the little machiny guy. But I don't think I could hold the little machiny guy up in the air. Because I don't know how heavy he is. Long enough to really get anything done. I was gonna do a couple custom latch hook rugs. Because I found a place that sells the yarn and I can get the canvas. And we found a program to help figure out the colory stuff that needs to happen, and I just haven't had the money. We were hoping we were gonna have it, but I still have to get my glasses done. That's kind of a maybe someday we'll get around to project. I have like 5 projects in progress. And I'm like, ooh, look at this, let's add another one. I'm like, no, you need to finish working on something first. Like, come on, girl. You need to finish the thing. And I'm like, but... boy. Alright. But I want to do this thing for a little bit now. But one of my other projects is going to need extra paint soon, so I kind of can't just forsake that. Alright. Wow, I'm putting in this purple and it's just making the rest of it look even more gray. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. We'll definitely have to get a progress photo with the, either Russell's phone or the good camera. One of those. I'm just astounded why that looks gray. Well, we've got a potential heat advisory coming in for tomorrow.
I'm not surprised.
It is so nasty muggy out there. I didn't think it was supposed to... Like, I was figuring with the way the winds were and shit, it was gonna get cold and... Oh, that flower's blooming. There's all kinds of little doodles on it.
Purple, too.
Yeah, and I'm kind of mad because the package had it as pink, and I'm like, what?
Well, it might just naturally vary.
Maybe. I was like, you were supposed to be pink, sir. Like, what is this nonsense? Well, we'll see if the bleeding hearts bloom. Those are definitely supposed to be pink. But I don't know if they are gonna. Right, so we'll get this tapped into here. I don't even remember what this flower was called that we planted. It was something that has little fuzzy guys on the top. They're like spikes. I know it's not lavender because lavender might be one of the scents that's not gonna work for me. Alright. Get this all worked into here as best as we can, because I've got the whole damn thing crooked again. Story of my life. So yeah, I'm hoping once we start to get some other colors put in that aren't purple, maybe that'll actually start to look its color on the camera. We'll have to see how that pans out. So I'm probably not going to be able to take a screenshot and post that. We'll have to, or I can take a photo comparison to show you guys. This is what the camera's saying it looks like, but this is what it actually looks like. I mean, the purple color, this purple that we're working on right now, that looks about right on the camera. To me. The other one doesn't really, but I think maybe there's just so much white mixed into it. Maybe that's why. I don't know. This is the only color I've had look that off for that long. Like when we first started, it looked purple. It looked the purple shade it was supposed to. Now I suddenly can't grip anything. What is happening here? Keep dropping my fluff. Can't be dropping the fluff. Yeah, that's no good. You alright?
Yep, just getting rolling on me.
Okay. Let's Getting this put into here. I mean, this is filling in pretty good. I mean, it's still going to take us a little bit of time to get it filled in, but the coverage on this color is not doing half bad. We will see how things go. Just want to pull it. Oop, get back here. Just wanted to pull it up a little bit. Because we had been crunching that section in for just a few minutes. I didn't want it to become too attached to our backing here, our mat. So the first thing I'm going to attempt to replace next month. Probably won't be towards the end of July though. But we need to replace this guy. I probably won't fully get rid of this one. I might hang on to it. Just as like an emergency backup or something, but come on. Okay, so next bit of fluff coming in. I mean, it's not a bad shade of purple. Not really. Fairly decent amount, or a decent shade. They're calling it pansy. I guess I can kind of see that being like a pansy purple. Not looking too bad. So I'm kind of stabbing this at a little bit of an angle on this edge just to try to move it over a little bit. You can kind of do that to a point, like if you need to make a slight adjustment. I wouldn't recommend trying to do it, if I could talk today, over a large distance, but you know, smaller adjustments are probably good. I'm just trying to make sure everybody else in here is attached. As well as they can be. So we probably, sorry, my hand's being weird today. We probably won't get this section finished today, but we can at least attempt to make a good dent in it, you know? Okay, so just overlap this a little bit down in here. And if I see some section that looks a little bit, you know, maybe not quite as attached as I would like it to be, and I'm gonna just kind of give that a little tappy tap. Just to make sure we're looking good. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Trying to remember what the next one after this one is. And I honestly don't remember. Oh, it's the lighthouse one. That one I'm kind of excited to try. I think that one's gonna be fun. Especially in this medium. I think that will be all sorts of fun. Means I'm gonna have to make sure we have enough black fluff, because I think that was a black canvas that he did. And a lot of times on the black canvases he'll leave some extra black around, so that one might take us a little bit, because instead of doing it on a black piece of felt, I think I'll just put the black fluff in where we need it as our base. It's like half black, half not. So doing it as an entire black one, at least if I'm remembering correctly, which is entirely possible I'm not. It could have been an entire white canvas that he just put either black paint or liquid black down on. Okay. Alright, so I mean the back's not looking too shabby. That doesn't look too bad either. But this is our front side. This is the side that we want to see. Just kind of getting a section of fluff here that I'm ready to work with. Alright, where are we going? Are we going up? I think we'll go up. So I'm just gonna overlap that section right in there. Work on filling in that gap. Alright, so I mean, it won't be 100% perfect as we're putting it in. You know, you might have some thin spots that show up, some gaps in between some color strands, and that's okay. You can always go back in and add another bit of fluff over top of it to fill in the spaces. Bob's got this pretty well solidly filled. Don't worry too much. Feels like we've got a little bit of a thin section in there where we've got some of our base felt square kind of popping on through. I mean, if I really wanted to, we can do this and just kind of try to move that up against that little gap section, and that'll fill it in a little bit, but right, we are looking pretty good here. I just do that to help the piece lay flat a bit overall. It's not something you have to do. I just find it works better for me. I found it helps keep any weird little like dips and valleys from happening. Alright. Tomorrow I should be on time. I don't foresee me being late tomorrow. I mean, you never know. Around here, we could end up being late, but I will try my damnedest not to be. Okay. Can't remember if I posted our finished piece photo anywhere. Like, I can't remember if we posted it to the Instagram or the Kofi. We might still need to post it to Instagram. Potentially. I actually have to figure out what color this ground section is supposed to be back here. Because we might have to get some of that fluffed. Since I'm not sure if I have enough of it fluffed. I mean, we could always do a little bit of fluffing as we go if we run it out. But I would rather spend our time actually working on the project than wasting time fluffing it. Or doing the fluff for it. Alright. We're looking pretty good. Getting some decent coverage with this color. Pretty happy with how that one's laying in. Momo's giving Russell shit. Oh man, that was awfully grumbly. He peed when I took him out too.
When did you take him out?
When I came out into the kitchen when you were doing dishes. I don't remember what time it was.
So in other words, he wants grass.
I don't know. Like we
Yeah,
went out. He smelled Num Num's butt. Num Num was sitting there eating. We peed on the pile of leaves next to the driveway, and then he turned around and promptly came back in. I didn't really have to get after him to stay on task or anything. I've not heard him grumble at you and backtalk you like that in a while. I guess Daddy wasn't moving fast enough. He usually doesn't have that kind of attitude. That's usually a Zuzu thing. That was funny. I don't think the microphone picked it up. Like, I heard him starting to grr at the husband, and I heard the husband tell him, "I'll be with you in just a second." And sometimes our just a seconds turn into 5 minutes, so I think that's why Momo was getting mad. And as soon as he said, "I know, I'm coming, I'll be right there," and Momo was like not having it, he's like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." Probably saying, "That's what you always say, let's go." I was gonna ask him if I had to get him. I really think it's only been an hour, to be perfectly honest. And we usually try to keep him on a 2-hour schedule, but you know, older dog, I'm not gonna tell him no. If he's really coming to me to want to go potty, then I'm gonna at least entertain him for a moment. Did he pee? You came back awful quick.
He really wanted to go across, but
No.
traffic.
Yeah, that's not the right time of day, buddy.
If I wasn't worried about him having to move quickly to get across the street at some point, I would, but...
Yeah, I have to wait till the traffic settles down.
Yeah, well, it never does, at least not during the day.
Can't risk old dog trying to move quickly to get across the street. Oh, that's not quite where it needs to be. So we've tried to hustle him across the street before and he's misstepped and made things worse. Alright. Kind of weirded out by this line that kind of showed up in there. Wasn't expecting that. Alright. Let's see. We'll see if that's still oddly present here in a minute. We go to flip this guy over because I didn't think there was any reason for a line to be in that spot. Maybe it's something going on there that I didn't realize. Now if we get too much, like if we have like a small seam here, we can work with that. That should be okay. Because if there is a slightly small seam, we can come back in and, you know, use our outline color, because the outline color is coming back in anyway. To put that hard dark edge on it. So we can kind of use that to fill in there if need be. I'm still pulling pink dye off of my skin. This is crazy. Alright, we'll have to see what's happening here. I don't really know. Yeah, why are you there? I'm gonna have to... I don't know why that's like that. We're gonna have to slap something over that. That is gonna drive me nutty. There's really no reason for that to be there. Right. So we'll get this all worked in here. Okay. So not half bad here so far. And we finished off lining out our edge up there. And wow, that looks black in person. I am surprised. It did not look that dark. As fluff. That is actually dark purple. Like, that one even looks black in person. It's not, though. Okay, that line has kind of been diffused a bit. It's not quite as sharply present. Hopefully it stays that way. That was most definitely unexpected. Although I can still see it a little bit. Not really sure why. I really didn't think there was a reason for that to be there. Alrighty. I mean, it's kind of still there, but not terribly so. Like, I can kind of see it, but only if the light hits it a certain way. Get out of there. Okay. So we can do just a little bit more here, and then we're gonna have to call it a day. So again, sorry I was late today, you guys. Didn't mean for myself to be. This kind of happens sometimes. So I say make sure you have your notifications turned on here, or at least follow on Twitter, because one of the two places should let you know that I have gone live. Actually, we need to add another bit of purple along this bottom edge here. Because somehow we're not as straight as we were. And that's okay. We can still adjust that. We've got a thin spot in there too. So, I mean, like I said, it's not a huge deal when the thin spots happen and stuff. They are fixable. So we were starting to get a little too away from our horizon line. Well, more away from it than I want it to be. So I know I'm not hitting any of the spots that I had just put this fluff over, but that spot didn't look like it was quite attached enough for my liking there. Bottom edge looks a little bit better now. Okay. Still need a slight bit of patchwork in here. Doesn't have to be too terribly thick, but I do need it just to kind of fill in that thin gap we had, just because of how the fluff got laid in. It's gonna happen. I'm just trying to overlap this bit of fluff over top of it so we don't have any weird lines and stuff showing up. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works better than others. That's not too bad. Alright, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna have to finish this tomorrow because we are pretty much out of time here today. Alright. I just want to finish up this little bit of fluff that I've got just sitting around. And we could shove him back in the bag, but we could also just take a minute and attach him. We can spare the couple of minutes for that. Alright, that's looking pretty good though. Gotta say, I'm pretty happy. Why does that look like that though? Hold on. The camera's... Oh, okay, there is a spot there. I'm like, why is the camera acting like there's a thin spot there? It's because there is, and I didn't notice it. I would have noticed it eventually. It's okay, we'll use this last little bit of fluff and stuff. To fill that in. Okay. Sometimes the smaller bits, or the thinner bits, are the ones that take the longest to attach. Trying to find all of the strands on it. How they get laid in here. Okay, let's see. How are we looking here? All of this brushed downward. See how we're doing. Alright, we are looking pretty good here, I think. So tomorrow we will pick back up with this section. I'm hoping tomorrow we can finish filling in this section and maybe get this outlined. We'll see. We'll see how time goes. But filling this in took about an hour and 20, we'll see. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get this side done tomorrow, at the very least. But happy Father's Day once again to any dads out there, and I hope your week starts out nicely. Mondays can always be a little bit of a toss-up. And I hope to see you tomorrow afternoon. And until next time, you guys, have a good one.